The revolutions in North Africa and the Middle East have shattered the theory of a passive Arab world inured to dictatorship and enthralled to political Islam. But there's a challenge too for the worldview of the left. After 9/11, with the Afghan war and the invasion of Iraq, the world for the left became polarised between America and its enemies. Noam Chomsky, the professor of linguistics who became the global intellectual figurehead of the left, saw America itself as terrorist. America he described as a totalitarian state. Chomsky, who is Jewish, said Israel's invasion of Gaza was not only criminal but politicide, the systematic murder of a nation. All this prompted the English writer Christopher Hitchens to accuse Chomsky of accepting moral equivalence between the actions of the USA and of Al-Qaeda.
Don't attack Iraq!
For the best part of 20 years, the left's narrative on the Middle East has been dominated by imperialism and anti-imperialism. Chomsky recently predicted that, in pursuit of oil, the US and its allies will pull out the stops to prevent any really functioning democracy from developing in the Arab world. But with the risings in Egypt and Tunisia, a new force blew into history. Secular young people, many of them Western educated, who didn't seem to hate America. And this too has been the test of a new kind of American diplomacy. Under Obama, the USA has so far refrained from militarizing the situation and exercised soft power to speed the exit of men like Ben Ali and Mubarak. Chomsky, a giant of modern linguistics, claimed the media had become a machine for manufacturing consent. But these were revolutions driven by free access to information, the sudden impact of social media. The consent machine broke down. And it's been shaky in America, with 100,000 on the streets of Madison, Wisconsin, in defense of union rights. Chomsky describes himself as an anarchist or libertarian socialist, and in that he embodies the ideas that have become dominant on the left with the demise of Leninism and trade union power. Now, from Tahrir Square to Madison, Wisconsin, that left is faced with a new question. Once you've mobilized people power, what do you do with it?
Well, earlier I spoke to Professor Chomsky.
Professor Chomsky, when you see all those thousands of people demonstrating on the streets of Egypt or Libya, what do you think?
Well, I think it's wonderful. I mean, they have a lot of problems, internal and external. Notice that it's been a remarkable achievement so far, but the regimes are intact. There have been name changes, but no significant socioeconomic political changes, though they may come.
But you talk about them demonstrating against regimes which enjoyed the backing of the West. Isn't it characteristic of these demonstrations that the West has, by and large, backed the demonstrators against the dictators?
Certainly not. In fact, what's happened is following a standard game plan, which has been used over and over. Marcos in the Philippines, Duvalier in Haiti, Chun in South Korea, Suharto in Indonesia. I mean, there comes a point when you cannot support your favorite dictator any longer. And the same thing happens every time. It's happening here too. Support them as long as possible. When the judgment is it can't be done anymore, maybe the army's turned against them or whatever, come out with ringing declarations about your love of democracy and how you're on the side of the people, and then try to preserve the regime.
So you think that the immediate response should have been to withdraw support for the administration in Egypt, for example?
Well, not quite. I think that response should have taken place a long time ago.
Sure.
Remember, these demonstrations are bursting out now, but things have been going on for a long time. So, for example, in Egypt, there have been very extensive, significant labor struggles for years. The January 25th movement was led by, the uprisings were led by a group called the April 6th group. Those are the ones, tech-savvy young people. April 6th is a significant day. That was the date of a major strike and support action planned at the Mahala textile industries, which was broken up by force. And that was a couple of years ago.
Do you find it striking that what many of these demonstrators appear to want is the sort of freedoms, Western freedoms, that you have often said are rather illusory?
Well, they're illusory if we let them be illusory. In fact, what's happening in Madison, Wisconsin, is very relevant in this respect. Right in the middle of the protest, one of the most dramatic moments of the protest a couple of weeks ago was when Kamal Abbas, a well-known labor leader in Egypt, sent a message to Madison, Wisconsin, saying the people of the workers of Egypt support the workers of Madison in their struggle. In Madison, they're trying to preserve aspects of democracy that are under serious attack. In Egypt, they're trying to gain the rights that have been denied them. The trajectories are crossing, but going in opposite directions.
Do you think that the West should go as far as arming the dissidents in Libya or Egypt?
Egypt, it's not even, the issue doesn't even arise in Egypt, so yes, no, of course not. But
what about Libya? Do you think we should arm?
Again, Libya is a special case. Libya is a civil war. Should the West intervene militarily? That's very doubtful. I don't think so. There's a long way before that question even arises. There are, first of all, the people don't want it. Remember that the West is hated for good reasons. I mean, take, say, Libya. Eastern Libya, which was just pretty much liberated, that's the site of the first post-World War I major genocide. Italy, in that case. That we may not remember, they do. And there's a long history since with England, France. For the powerful, history is bunk. But the victims don't have that luxury.
So what do we do? Just do nothing?
We wait, and first of all, we're not asked to do anything. Mostly we've been asked to stay away. Just read what is being said. Mostly stay away. You've got enough blood on your hands already. There are, the question of what to do is not up to us. We're not the only ones in the world.
Sure.
So, say Brazil, for example, is a respected country. So is Turkey.
We know, because we've seen what you've had to say on the subject, how you regard Bush and Blair's record in the Middle East. Do you think Obama's no better?
In many ways, it's worse.
Why?
I've been writing about it. I started writing about it before the election.
Why is he worse?
Well, should we go through the details? Please. In the case of Afghanistan, he's sharply escalated the war. This is threatening a breakup of Pakistan, which could be a catastrophe for the West. Let's take Israel-Palestine. I mean, his position is shocking. He's refused to do. I mean, there was just a UN Security Council resolution a few weeks ago in which calling on an ending of settlements, settlement expansion, and declaring the settlements illegal, which is not even controversial. Obama vetoed it.
But you famously said that every American president since the Second World War would fail in the judgment as applied at Nuremberg, and therefore effectively should be hanged. Do you say the same applies to...
I didn't say not everybody was hanged at Nuremberg. I said if we believed...
not everyone was hanged. I
said if we believed in the Nuremberg principles,
yes,
every American president would be subject to them. What the decision would be, we'd have to check. Notice that this is the Nuremberg principles, not the trials.
But Obama would fare no better were those principles applied to him.
No, he's carrying out a major war in Afghanistan. He's supporting. He's directly. He's directly involved in aggressive and criminal actions carried out by Israel, for example. He's only been in office for 2 years, so he hasn't had a chance to invade anyone yet. But his record is quite consistent with what's happened before.
Professor Chomsky, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you can watch the whole of that interview on our website now.